Hi, my name is Aurora. Welcome to Lavender, Hazelwood Witches. This is just going to be a catch-up video to let you know what's been up. So the vlog of my pilgrimage, my Spain trip, is in process. I think it's going to take a while. There's like 1,200 video clips that I have to edit, and I'm trying to figure out whether it's going to be one long thing or if it's going to be segmented. But it's going to be a while before that comes out because it's quite a lot of work. It's more work than I thought. So it's coming. It'll come when it comes. So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about something that has really just kind of pulled my interest like in a whole nother direction, but related to what we do here. I don't know if you've heard of the Telepathy Tapes podcast. My neighbor mentioned the podcast to me and I went to check it out, and now I'm realizing there's a lot more out there about it than I even knew. So you might know about it. The Telepathy Tapes are like a documentary style podcast, and this filmmaker goes in and starts interviewing nonverbal autistic kids and their parents, and starts really uncovering what it's like to be in a family like that. And what they're learning is that these kids are like telepathic, and not just telepathic. They're mediums. They're doing remote viewing. They're doing all of these skills that we in this community, the witchcraft community, are well aware of. But I think for the first time, the wider culture is starting to accept it because of this documentary. It is so like affirming in a lot of ways, and I think it's going to open up a whole new kind of interest and acceptance of these abilities that innately we all have. But these kids are just pretty extraordinary and have a lot to teach us. And it brings up questions of basically, what is consciousness? Where does it come from? And how do we attach to it? And how do we attach to each other through it? So this has really sort of lit me up in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. One of the segments on the podcast interviews Anna Breytenbach, and she is an interspecies communicator. And this is the woman who turned me on to animal communication. It's where I learned about it. I saw a documentary of her, I don't know, like more than 10 years ago. Between 10 and 15 years ago, she learned how to do animal communication through tracking. And it is what inspired me to seek out tracking classes and to see what she was seeing. I realized tracking classes are not my thing. I don't find them that interesting, honestly. But it opened up a whole doorway from seeking out those tracking classes to this small little mom and pop company called Earth Skills, who offer other classes in earth philosophy and basically like learning how to be intuitive with the earth. I mentioned in another video this practice called breath to heart, which is the way that you intuitively connect with the field around you. And it works. And the thing that keeps coming back in the telepathy tapes and from Anna is that you have to be heart-centered and you have to connect to your heart in order to access this state. And I'm like, holy crap, it's what I've learned. And I have had moments where I'm like, yes, I'm 100% connected into the field. I don't know how to get there every day. I don't know how to get there all the time, but I can do it. And it makes me feel really excited to know that there's more acceptance coming out around this, which means there's going to be more available avenues to explore this kind of stuff in the future. I've gone back to Anna Breytenbach and watched again the documentary that I saw many moons ago, plus a few others that I've seen. She is absolutely, her skills are phenomenal. And I would love to be her one day. And so I've started playing with some of the animal communication practices that a lot of these communicators suggest doing, like talking to your own pets and talking to the wildlife outside. And I mean, I've had conversations with Willa the squirrel. If you've been around here, you know Willa, and we talk all the time, actually. When she got injured, I offered my support, and I literally heard her in my head say, "No, I don't want your support. I don't want you to take me anywhere. I don't care if I die out here. My freedom is more important than being cooped up somewhere in a cage." And she didn't come back to visit me for a week. So there are like bits and pieces where I get these things, you know, I get I get these moments where I'm very aware that I am connected to them and we're having an actual conversation. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. And the fact that this is becoming more acceptable in the mainstream makes me really happy. So anyway, I've circled back to Anna Breytenbach, and she, like I said, she's phenomenal. And I woke up at like 6 a.m., and usually that space right before waking up where you're kind of half awake and half asleep has always been my place of like of getting answers to things that I have been questioning and don't know the answer to. It's kind of my favorite time of day is that space. So in that space, I got a vision of a puppy, a husky puppy that was lying on its side, and it was sick. And I heard it say help, and I asked it what its issue was, and it said it had a stomach ache and it had diarrhea. And I was like, "Where are you?" And it showed me it's what it was seeing, and I understood where it was, or I thought I understood where it was. And so this was at 6 a.m. I couldn't just hop up and leave at 6 a.m. So when I could, 3 hours later, I went to go try and find the puppy or any kind of evidence that this might have been true. I'm on my way to go check and see if that was a communication. My mind says no, it was just, your imagination, but I really want to find out if there's anything there that could corroborate what that was that I got this morning. I'm now starting to practice when I meditate, because usually here's the way I meditate. I sit down and let my mind run wild, and it just does what it does, and I watch. So I'm sort of like mind focused in that way, and what I'm starting to do is drop into my heart instead. And literally, I mean, if you're wondering what the difference is, it's like one, putting your own focus on your heart, and that could just be like that part of your body where your heart exists. And I know this works. I know because I've been taught about the heart since, I don't know, just from different people in different ways, from coming from different avenues. And so but what I'll reference is the breath to heart practice that I learned in my Earth Skills class, which is when you're trying to blend in, one of the things you do, like when you want to blend into your environment, one of the things you do is you take a breath. As you exhale, you're dropping your awareness down into your heart. And it does have a different quality if you do that and you pay attention from the mind. It's different from the mind. So that's what I'm playing with right now, is dropping more consciously into my heart space of my body instead of my mind as I meditate, and seeing what that does. And what I'm noticing so far is that, excuse me, the light just changed. What I'm noticing is that it's a clearer, there's not so much chaos. The mind is like full of chaos unless you have it really disciplined. And the heart does not have that quality. It's a lot more peaceful. And so putting the focus there makes the communication more soft. I think is a good way to say it. I'm in the area that I was shown. Its perspective is a little off. So I don't know what that means. Because what it showed me was that this construction area was like right across the street from Target, and Target is not right across the street. The construction area is a little bit further down. It's like half a block down. So I'm gonna go check that area out right now. Yeah. Chain link fence, I saw that. I'm gonna go around the other side. Alright, we're coming down the other side. This is more of the kind of vision I got. It's like I don't see anything in there. There's a bunch of, like a pile of junk over there, mattress and other debris. Just trying to see if anything's living in there. I don't see anything. Okay. I was either wrong or my timing is off. I think one thing that I am not clear on at this point is where the communication is coming from. So am I talking telepathically to a being, an entity that has crossed over already and that was their plight at one point? Or am I talking to someone who's alive? If you have any distinctions of how to tell the difference, I would love to know. Leave it in the comments. Or if you've had any experiences like this, also leave that in the comments, just so we can have a chat and grow as well. That's really loud, isn't it? Hold on, let me roll up the window. I really want to deepen my perception skills. I just want more precision and mastery over it. I don't want to just write it off and be like, well, I was just making things up. And maybe I was. We don't know. But also, like, maybe the puppy got picked up by somebody. I don't have the context for exactly what I was tapping into, if I was tapping into anything that was substantial. But these are, tests or things that we can do to kind of like practice and figure out when we're correct, when we're actually getting something, and when we're picking up and tuning into something else completely different. So that has also gotten me into wanting to practice or go through the Hemi-Sync course. I don't know if you know what Hemi-Sync is, but I think it was in the 80s when the CIA was using these tests on people to help them with learning about consciousness and telepathy and all these psi abilities. And they were developed, I guess, by the Monroe Institute. And basically, it's audio that you listen to that, if you know what binaural beats are, that's basically what this is. They're sending waves or sounds that are at different frequencies, and you hear them, and it changes your brainwave state. So if you do this over long periods of time, they say that you can develop stronger psi abilities. And this is something I'm very curious about. So I have a copy of these Hemi-Sync tracks that I would like to start using and seeing if that changes anything for me in terms of these intuitive abilities that I've been playing with for like a long time. Another thing that's been sort of like piquing my interest are bees and bee conservation. There's colony collapse happening around the world, and 60% of the bee population are dying, and people don't exactly know why. Could be global warming, could be the use of pesticides. I mean, all of this contributes to everything. We're a web. There's nothing that's singled out. And a lot of species of animals and insects are being affected by what's happening on our planet right now. Lightning bugs also will be dying out. And I've been just asking myself, how can I contribute to maybe the preservation and the conservation of bees? I have an interest in bees all of a sudden, like a deeper interest in learning about bees. And so I've been looking at resources around me into figuring out like where I might be of help or how I can learn about bees more. There are some organizations where I live where I can reach out to them and do workshops with them to sort of get a stronger sense of like what it is to be a bee. And so I also went to, there's a guy here locally who is a beekeeper, and he has 300 hives, and he sells honey and he sells wax. And so I bought a 5-pound
Mountain Town
block of wax from him a couple weeks ago, which I'm excited to turn into candles. So that'll be something like a physical project that I'll be able to sort of work with later on this year to learn more about bees and get more hands-on with who they are as beings, as a species. Interestingly enough, talking about all of this sort of like telepathy, ESP, intuition stuff, my best friend and I, when we were just out of college, started practicing our intuitive skills based on Laura Day's teachings. And she just sent me her latest book, which is called The Prism: 7 Steps to Heal Your Past and Transform Your Future. Laura Day is a medical intuitive, a finance intuitive. She just does everything across the board. And we started working with her book called The Circle. And so we were playing with manifesting things through manifestation work right outside of college. And it worked. We had some really good successes. I think I talked about this in another video. And especially when we tag teamed, when we would team up and work together on manifesting one thing, it always came a lot faster and delightfully unexpected results. So Laura Day is somebody that has sort of been instrumental in a certain kind of way in my learning of how to work with intuition. I'm currently reading The Book of Ancestors by Claire Goodchild, and it's a guide to magic rituals and your family history. I saw 2 other creators do book reviews on this. One was Beverly Butterfly, and the other was The Witch of Wonderlust. So I decided to pick it up and give it a whirl. This is a library copy that I'm reading. And then the other book that I have on my to-be-read list is called The ESP Enigma: The Scientific Case for Psychic Phenomena. This was a reading list that was on Anna Breytenbach's website. That's where I got that one from. And then I just finished reading this book. This is called The Boy Who Was Saved by Jazz by Tom Bentley Fisher. This just came out, and it is a delightful read. It's funny, it's poignant, it's fiction, quote unquote. And it warmed my heart. Every night I wanted to go back and I couldn't wait to jump into finishing this book. I just want to say Tom Bentley Fisher is a mentor of mine, and so my relationship to this book is probably very skewed and different because I know him so well. So I just, before I say what I'm going to say, I want you to know that. So, and this is not at all sponsored. This is just me gushing from the heart about my mentor. This book is up for a prestigious Canadian award for writing, which is pretty cool. It's really well written. It's a coming-of-age story about a boy in Canada whose father is dead, but his father starts speaking to him from the grave. And this is while it's fiction, this is very much based on his own life. My mentor he's definitely psychic, has always been able to tune into things other people can't see. And I've learned a lot just from learning from him about life and how to see like he sees. And so that's all I'm going to say without giving away too much. But anyway, I think this could be something that some of you enjoy too. So all of these books are what are in my world right now. If you have made it to the end and feel so inclined, please let me know in the comments below what books you're reading or where your interest lies currently in your spiritual magical practice. I would love to know what is pulling at you at the moment.